Alright guys, I'm starting to work on this gauge cluster here. Basically I'm taking the stock cluster, I disassembled it. This is the inside piece, obviously. I pulled all the gauges out. This is the back piece. So that's what it looks like inside. It's kind of funky looking, but so I'm going to take this, and because I have the some stuff here. I have the Holley Digital Dash. So the plan is to install that in the cluster. So basically I need to cut this back piece out. So I'm taping it off. I'm going to mark where the dash sits in here, because I'm probably going to have to notch this just a little bit for the digital dash to fit in there. Then I'm going to cut the back out, and then I've got this flat ABS plastic I ordered a while ago. I'm just going to cut a new one of these, the back plate here, but without the holes, obviously. So then the digital dash will just mount on the flat piece. It'll screw, and I'm going to drill all the way through the back of this, put some washers on the back. So basically the dash will clamp this piece and the flat piece inside of this. That's my plan so far. So I got it taped off, like I said. I'm going to try and protect this back piece best I can. So I'm going to finish taping this off, and then I've got a variety of Dremel bits I'm going to try. I don't know what's going to work best, but alright, so it's actually the next day now. I didn't get much time to work on this yesterday, so I ended up taping this all off, and then cut the back piece out kind of in sections. Like I said, I bought these Dremel bits. I didn't even end up using the Dremel to cut it out. Tool of choice ended up being this little air-powered Harbor Freight special little sawzall, I guess. So this worked really well. I just cut it out on the cardboard box, and then I marked the ABS plastic here, and I still have to trim these little notches right here so that it'll fit, because this piece clicks into here. So I gotta trim those out quick, and then we'll test fit it and go from there. Alright, well, I found that the bandsaw has actually worked better for trimming this back piece. It's got some little notches I had to cut in for these clips to slide through. So the bandsaw has worked pretty good. Still need to trim a little bit on the back side here. But I'll do that now, mark it, and trim it some more, and hopefully it'll pop together the next time I try it. Oh yeah, that might work. Almost. Need to trim just a little bit more on the top, and then it should pop right together. this. Trim that too, I guess. Alright, I had to cut this top piece off here just because of this little raised edge right here. Kind of was hitting, so we'll try this out again. Hopefully it should pop right in now, but we shall see. Well, here it is, guys. I finally got it done. Basically, I fought with it for a little while, and off camera decided to just trim around, pretty much I outlined this, stuck it on there, trimmed it just a little bit wider, and now it actually fits pretty dang good. So I'll just pop this on here. I left these two little holes here that these little pins go into and kind of help keep it aligned. Yeah, we'll get this thing put together. Actually clips together nice. And that turned out pretty good, I think. So it's nice and tight on there. All the clips line up, fit how they're supposed to. So then I also marked center. I basically just followed the line here, because that is definitely center of the cluster here. Mark center, and then I'm going to mark center on the gauge, or actually I think it comes with a template, so I'll use the template, and I'll continue the center line down here, and then I'll line up the template on here and kind of figure out how the digital dash is going to mount on here, and we'll go from there. Well, this is what I got so far. I got the centered marked on the cluster here, marked it on the back plate. I also pulled out the template that they send us in the Holley Terminator box, or the digital dash box, I guess, and I marked center on the template. That just shows the holes where you need to drill. So yeah, I got that kind of marked up. I traced around it where I'm going to have to trim the hood for the cluster here, and so I'm going to take this off and trim it and see how it fits. Alright guys, so this has been an extremely tedious and time-consuming process, to say the least. Basically, I had to trim everything on here about 1,000 times, so I didn't film a whole lot of it, but basically I used the template that they sent me with the Holley Dash, marked everything for center, lined it up how I wanted it. I had to trim this lower part here. Also probably gonna have to trim the hood that goes over the top of this. I also then marked the cluster itself center, and then the wires, obviously you see they come out the back here. That's what this little hole is for. So the wires run in through here and they can come out the back side, kind of like factory. So I'll get this put on, kind of show you how it looks, and then I'll pull the tape off and actually mount it in, and hopefully it fits. Alright, so that's kind of what it looks like in there. Obviously I haven't put the screws on yet, but it sits in there nice and flush. So yeah, I mean it really fits nicely. I'm very happy with it. I got the top here. I could have trimmed this top all the way out, like this piece here. I could have cut all of that out, but then it was going to lose the structure here with these tabs. It's kind of hard to see. Now these tabs here on the top, so I didn't want to lose that structure on the top, so I figured I would notch notch this out, get this up in there as high as I could, and still be able to have the screen basically all visible is kind of what I wanted. So it does hang down a little low. Like I said, I'm gonna have to trim the hood that goes over the top of this, but that's not a big deal. So overall, I'm happy with it. I guess I'll bolt it in and see how it looks officially. Well guys, I got the tape all pulled off the cluster housing here, and off the dash itself, digital dash, whatever you want to call it, and started putting it back together. And then I remembered I forgot that I have the input-output harness as well. Basically this runs up, I'm going to feed this through, and then this plugs in behind here, and this will allow me to hook up the stock fuel cage, the sending wire. It'll just plug into here, and then that'll display the fuel level on the digital dash. So definitely something I wanted to keep since I eliminated all the factory gauges. So I'm going to start plugging that in, and then I can officially bolt the cluster into the I guess housing, whatever you want to call it. So tiny little screws. Alright, so this is what it looks like in the back of the harness, or the back of the dash, I guess. So you see right here, I believe, is the one that we want. This input, it says, hard to see here, there is an I and an O. Oh, it's hard to, right there, I and an O. So that's input output. So this plug will just plug right in there. So I'll get that plugged in, and then I'll start putting this in the housing. So alright, I got those wires hooked up in the back of the cluster. I'm just screwing it in now. I got these 4 screws, obviously, with some big fender washers. It's basically clamping this whole assembly together. So it should stay nice and sturdy. Don't have to worry about the cluster falling out, hopefully. Just get those tightened down. And so yeah, basically we got all this wiring coming out the back. Like I said, this one, it's Holley input-output basically. So like I said, I'm going to wire that up for the fuel gauge, and then it has 2 USB ports as well. One of them is going to be going to the GPS transmitter, so I can have a speedometer, and then this is just the CAN bus hookup for hooking up to the terminator ECU, and power for the cluster here. So basically what we got. So it is officially installed. Flip it over here and take a look at it. It looks pretty sweet. Pretty clean. I mean, it took forever to actually do this. I mean, I've spent a good day and a half, maybe 2 days putting this together. So it was not a very quick process, but I think it's worth it. It'll be pretty cool. So yeah, I got the gauge cluster done now, so that's ready. I'll probably put that back in the house for the time being. So that's all done. Now the next step, which I'll probably keep going on tomorrow, is I started this earlier today. Basically this side of the dash harness. Now I just kind of started to loom this one wire. This actually goes back to the rear of the car. This is for the fuel pump, this wire here, and I pulled out the wire for the fuel sending unit. So I did that earlier today. Since I was preparing the gauge cluster, I figured I might as well get that ready too. So tomorrow I plan on looming all of this and tucking it back up in, and then hopefully all of the dash wiring will be done. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good in here. It's a mess. I mean, I got all these bags and stuff of of split looms. So, yeah, I'll keep trucking along on this tomorrow, and that should be it for this video. But thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.